What is up, guys? It's Jimbo here, and welcome back to another dungeon weapon video. Today we're going to be talking about the Wilderflight, which is the brand new breech-loaded grenade launcher from the dungeon. It's really awesome, and I highly recommend that you pick this up. We're going to go through how to get your hands on it, and also some of the roles that I would highly recommend. Doing it a little bit different, and hopefully you've seen my other video on the Liminal Vigil that we put out earlier on today. So yeah, let's waste no more time and start talking about the Wilderflight. So we have the Wilderflight. It's a brand new archetype for this season. It's the double fire, hard-hitting twin rounds breech-loading GL. This essentially fires 2 bullets or 2 grenade projectiles in every shot. So it is different to a lot of the other GLs in the game, and I highly recommend that you would go and pick this up. We're going to talk about it in a lot of depth today. The text balance stock, you're going to be firing this from the hip a lot of the time, so you will get that reload speed buff and also the handling as well, especially because it's a grenade launcher. You can maybe aim down sight sometimes, but I would highly recommend that you fire this from the hip. Let's talk about where you can get this from. I believe it's from the second looted encounter on the Spire of the Watcher. I don't think you can get it from the first encounter, or I think you can get it from the second and the final boss encounter as well. And then obviously the secret chests too. But we're going to talk about where this stands in the overall portion of the game, the best roles to get on the weapon, and yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. So the Wilderflight. The main thing that you want on this weapon, first and foremost, is if you can get RNG in your favor and get a 4-for-4 roll in the perks that you want. For example, spike grenades and blinding grenades are a must here. Spike grenades will give you a bit of a damage increase on the impact, and also blinding nades will be good for ad control, especially when you want to lock things down. But the other perk columns have a lot of viability across the board. I'm not going to go through all of them and talk about specifically which ones are like the best ones or not, but I think this weapon actually does more damage than regular GLs because of the 2 shots that it hits, being the aggressive frame or the aggressive 2 slug firing. But also have to take into account that you may not be using a grenade launcher for the most amount of DPS, but it is insane against yellow bars. The 2 perks that I'm going to recommend first off are reload perks, essentially. So you have auto-loading holster, which I think is the best perk on the weapon for the left-hand slot, just because it makes it a lot easier to hit an enemy with this weapon, put it away, get your primary out, and then ultimately just reloads itself. Feeding Frenzy is also a good option, but I don't think you'll get the maximum use out of this unless you are killing a bunch of enemies. And then the last 2 perks that are notable on here, and I'll give an honorable mention. The honorable mention is for Repulsor Brace, but I don't recommend it on this GL. But there will be Danger Close and Demolitionist. Danger Close can be pretty good because it does increase the blast radius when you are around a lot of enemies. It does give you a little bit of self-damage, but I do think that it's like the last one that I would recommend here, and that's just for my own personal playstyle. And then the last one I'll recommend in that left-hand column is Demolitionist, purely because Demolitionist will allow you to get more grenade energy and reload the weapon when you throw out a grenade. But the right-hand column has 3 perks to talk about: Adrenaline Junkie, Frenzy, and Vorpal Weapon. I don't recommend Vorpal Weapon that much unless you're going up against a lot of mages, yellow bars and such, so you will probably benefit from it in GMs. There's also Adrenaline Junkie, which will give you a 33% increase when you get a kill with a grenade and then using it. This could be very, very good, but I don't think it's as consistent in higher end content. And the reason being is because you have Frenzy. You can have Frenzy active on the weapon a lot if you're in combat and you have the weapon out long enough. Now, yes, the damage buff is a little bit higher on Adrenaline Junkie, and you'll be able to do it in grenade builds, especially like an auto-loading holster. Adrenaline Junkie would be pretty damn crazy, but I think auto-loading Frenzy with blinding and spike grenades is going to be the best option for the weapon. But the biggest question to answer about this weapon is where it fits into the meta. The only other void breech loader that I can think of right now is Truth Teller, and I think there's also All Wings More, but I think Truth Teller and those 2, I think this is better than both of them, especially because this can roll with auto-loading and obviously blinding and spike, and the perk selection is a little bit different. And the other thing is, it's not going to be the weapon that clears ads super quick. There's other weapons that are better for that in the GL department, i.e. the Salvager Salvo has demo chain reaction. There's also the Forbearance, which is insane. Waveframe. Any of the waveframes are just amazing for ad clear. I would use this GL if you want to take advantage of we can clear this season, and hopefully in future seasons when we get any extra buffs to breach loaders. And I would highly recommend using this against mages, as I've said before, in GMs and also higher end content. Whether or not it will be crazy in GMs this season is another question, but unstoppable grenade launcher is a thing. So I might end up taking this alongside maybe Anarchy as well or whatever, just to make sure that I'm getting something if I don't really want to use like with a horde and I want to take advantage of getting rid of some shields and blinding and controlling enemies. So to clarify, my final role on the weapon, for me personally, is either going to be auto-loading Adrenaline Junkie or auto-loading Frenzy, with an honorable mention for Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie on the weapon. Spike grenades and blind nades are a must. But that's all I really have time for. If this video has been helpful, please leave a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and also stay tuned for more content on the channel by hitting that notification bell. Hopefully you've enjoyed the double uploads. Go and check out the other video that I made earlier today about the Liminal Vigil. These two together are pretty damn crazy. But as always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.